ladies. So I'm very loud.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Hey, ladies. So while we recover from a somewhat wild summer of LWML, etc., we thought we would let Bri celebrate some of her favorite moments and episodes.
I came back for a minute. I was in the neighborhood.
So we can reminisce about all the fun times we had together. And Bri is going to tell you why she loves these episodes. So for the next few weeks, we're doing a series that we're calling Bri's Greatest Hits.
Yes.
It's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely. I just have to say too, when we were planning this series and we were going to take the month to do it, do you know how hard it is to pick 4 episodes out of the 4 years that we've been doing this? It is so hard. And it really has made me reflect just how much God has blessed each and every one of us with creativity and humor and skill and expertise. And so this was really hard to do for me, but it was also a good reminder that, life is good and y'all are great. And this has been just such a journey. So
it's been super fun to have your creative genius gracing our episodes.
True story. And speaking of creative genius, I wanted to tell you about this first episode that I have chosen for the greatest hits.
All right.
Not simply. The whole episode is great, but my favorite part is a little bit self-promotion, shameful, shameless, whatever. This is Erin's recipe card, the coleslaw episode.
Yes.
I love coleslaw. And of the 4 of us, I was the only one to not make it for this episode, which is strange because of the limitations that you have with food. But you made it work and it sounded awesome.
And I still make it.
I'm so happy for you. I'm glad you found that for yourself. But because I did not make coleslaw for myself, I wrote in my head as I was singing it, to be fair, a coleslaw power ballad. And sometimes I still sing the refrain. I'll be straightening up my apartment and I'll be like, coleslaw, you're my greatest friend. It cycles in and out of my brain folds periodically. So I just love it. And then Rachel's like, keep going. And there was 2 other verses that came out. I'm very impressed with myself in this episode. So I just thought I'd remind everybody how hilarious I am with this episode.
Yeah, this is pretty epic level creative genius.
It is good. It is so good.
And we're all going to experience it again right now.
Enjoy.
Slaw, yeah.
You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bri.
And I'm Rachel. We have a bit of a festival going on today. It's an Erin's recipe card. And I hear it's a Slaw fest. If that rumor is true, I think we're talking about coleslaw today, which is apparently super exciting for all of us. So Erin, tell us all things coleslaw today.
Well, it's summer, right? And what is more summery? I wanted to think of a good summer salad. And I'm all in favor of a layered salad every now and then. That's good. But honestly, my heart belongs to cabbage. I love cabbage all year round. In the summer, I love it raw. In the winter, I love it cooked. But really, it's one of nature's perfect foods. So I decided that for the recipe, we should have a cabbage salad, and coleslaw is the ultimate of cabbage salads. So, as I usually do, I decided to consult with my mom. And in this case, I was not going without a clear idea. What I wanted was a specific recipe, the Cowboy Coleslaw,
Oh
that
boy.
she said, that we've had many times. It's delicious. It's odd. I think she actually calls it apple cowboy slaw, but I usually go with just Cowboy Coleslaw or Cowboy Slaw because I feel apple doesn't need to be in the name. Anyway, the Cowboy Slaw is I actually have no idea why cowboy needs to be in there either, because let me tell you, the ingredients, none of them really say to me cowboy. I mean, it's got cabbage and apples, so that part makes sense with the name, but I don't. I like Cowboy Slaw. So it's cabbage and apples and grapes, and this is sort of the sort of left field ingredient, dill pickles.
Hmm.
And then it's a
Interesting.
mayo based slaw. Slaws, as you know, tend to fall in there's two main slaw families, the vinegar based slaw and the mayo based slaw. This one is a mayo based slaw, although there is some vinegar in it, for a little zing. And it's delicious. There's also some onion in it. So basically, to make the dressing, you start with mayonnaise. And what I learned from this recipe is it really emphasized to me just how much my mom loves a creamy coleslaw, because the original recipe called for 1/3 cup of mayo, and her notation has it tripled. She
Yes.
And I asked her about it. I was like, "Is this right? It says a cup of mayo?" And she
Yes.
said, "Well, she usually adds some extra cabbage for one. But
Mhm.
she also acknowledged, she's like, I like a creamy slop."
Hmm.
So anyway,
Own
it
it,
has
girl.
mayo and then some vinegar and a little bit of sugar, some mustard and
Mhm.
salt and pepper. So you mix all of that up for your base, and then you combine. Coleslaw is just like, it is also forgiving. To an extent, you don't even really need a recipe. You can just toss stuff in there and then mix in some mayo and call it a coleslaw. But it's got cabbage, the tart apple. So when I made it, I went with a Granny Smith because that's my go-to tart apple, and pickles, dill pickles, and I decided to go with red seedless grapes. It says green or red, but I thought the red would be pretty in it since there's already all these sort of green and white ingredients. So
Mhm.
I went with
Mhm.
the red seedless grapes, cut in half, and also some chopped onion. And again, my mom has a note about she used green onions, and I thought, I like green onions. That sounds good. So you basically you mix up the dressing first, then you combine all your ingredients, then you pour the dressing over it. You can eat it immediately, or you can let it sit for a couple hours.
In
The
the
recipe
fridge. In
recommends,
the
yeah,
fridge, please.
the recipe does recommend that you know, chill it and refrigerate it for a couple hours. Stir it up again before serving, and you're good to go. I will point out, since you mentioned in the fridge, so like we've got this history in our, I don't know, our cultural memory that people get food poisoning at summer picnics because of mayonnaise. And
Mhm.
I mean, that was a common culprit back in the day when women were making their own mayonnaise from eggs. But nobody uses that kind of mayonnaise anymore. Now we're all using the stuff that comes out of the jar, at the grocery store, and it's no longer a dangerous foodstuff. Yes, it can still spoil, but it's not like it's going to spoil in, like you need to keep it in an ice bath while it's sitting out on your picnic table. It is now a shelf stable product. Refrigerate it once it's open, as you do most any, that's normal, but it's no longer got like the element of risk that's associated with us in our memory of, I don't know, everybody has this idea that somehow the mayonnaise is going to just make us all sick, and it really won't. It's fine. It's not a deadly food.
Thank you
So
so much for saying that, because I am very paranoid about that. I have not taken anything other than a vinegar-based coleslaw to a summer picnic in years, because
yeah,
I've been of the mindset that if I have a mayonnaise-based dressing and it sits outside for more than 10 minutes, I will be responsible for murdering everyone there.
yeah. I mean, it can certainly, like any food that's sitting out can still go bad, because that's how the world works, entropy and all that. But it's not like it used to be. It's because of, they used to use raw eggs when they made the mayo, and they
True.
don't use that anymore. So don't be afraid to bring a creamy
Fear not.
coleslaw to your picnic. So
Or your picket in this age of protesting. Sure. Bring a dish to pass.
Slaw strike.
Yeah. While I taste this slaw,
I haven't tried mine either yet.
Yeah.
I haven't
made
either.
it's sitting in front of me. I have a giant bowl, and I just have a spoon sticking in the bowl because my children will not eat this food, and I will be enjoying it for the next couple of days. I hope it's good. It better be good. Please let it be good. I did green everything: green apples, green
Okay.
pickles, green grapes, green cabbage, and green onions, because I can't do raw onions in salads. I can't do raw onions, period. I don't think that they're a particularly holy or righteous food. But the green
I
onions
agree
I can
with you.
tolerate. I used like the coarsest, like basically the whole mustard seeds are floating in here. We're not talking yellow mustard here. We're talking super
Right.
artisan coarse ground mustard.
Yes.
And that I'm really excited about, because I make a coleslaw similar to this without the mustard and the weird stuff, at least twice a week. It's been really a healthy addition to our diet. And you don't think of coleslaw as healthy, but if you're on a low carb diet or a sugar restricted diet, mayonnaise is 0 carbs. Cabbage, super low carb. And so it can be a really healthy addition to a diet that needs to be low in sugar or carbohydrates. Mine doesn't need to be. I just feel better when it is. So, so yeah, the basic shell of this salad looks something really familiar. And I am a little trepidatious about some of these flavor combos that are going to be hitting my palate in a couple of minutes. But I'll try anything for you, Erin. I really will.
Rachel, do you like your coleslaws the way you like your Jellos, nice and simple?
I do. If it's a classic coleslaw, yeah, I really do. I like to be able to list the ingredients on like one hand. But I do make a fancier ramen noodle slaw that
I love the ramen noodle slaw.
I know that's my go-to. That's got that vinegar-based dressing, and that one tends to have everything from sesame seeds to toasted almonds to it just that's much more of a kitchen sink kind of coleslaw for me. But when we're talking straight up slaw, it does not need very much fancy at all to be amazing.
I mean, and I completely agree with you. Simple coleslaw is good by itself. I just like some variety every now and then, and find that cabbage is very friendly to a lot of different players. So,
agreed.
Yeah. Sarah, tell us about you did a little variant. What's your variant?
Yeah, so I can't actually make the one that you recipe'd, but when I went grocery shopping today, I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to put cabbage in my soup again lately, so I might as well just get one and see what happens. So I bought a cabbage, and so I just chopped a little of the cabbage up, and it's actually more of a cabbage salad than a coleslaw probably. It's olive oil, a lot of pepper, a lot of Celtic salt, cranberries, sweetened cranberries, dried cranberries, and almonds. So this is actually like the exact same thing that we put on lettuce for actual like lettuce salads. Just with the coleslaw. And we've discovered that cranberries make a good flavor substitute for vinegar, since I can't eat vinegar or anything acidic, which is a real bummer. But cranberry makes a really good substitution for that. So having the cranberries in there lends the sweetness and hopefully the tartness. I haven't actually tried this yet, so.
Sarah,
It'll be-
you say that you made a coleslaw or really a cabbage salad. I'm looking here at sort of an etymological history of coleslaw. I was wrong. I had in my brain that it meant something other than it does. It comes from the Dutch term coleslaw, which literally means cabbage salad. So if you have a cabbage salad, you have a coleslaw. Do not feel like you are inferior in any way.
Exactly.
You got coleslaw, girl.
I'm sad, guys.
Aw.
I don't have
Usually
coleslaw.
I'm the one without food. You're the one without food today.
But if you will indulge me, I would like to sing a power ballad about coleslaw right now.
Bri, while you do that, I'm going to mute my mic so no one has to listen to me chew, and I'm going to try this salad and see
We're
if
all
it's
muting
good.
our mics.
All right.
I wish I had some coleslaw. It's the perfect marriage of carrots and cabbage. Sometimes it has mayonnaise in it, and sometimes vinegar based. I really love all the coleslaws in my life. I wish it never end. Coleslaw, coleslaw, you're my greatest friend. When I sit down and eat coleslaw, I never want the day to end. No, I want a thing. Thank you.
Oh, that was magnificent, Bri.
I almost choked on my
It is a
coleslaw.
true ode.
Keep singing. I'm not done eating yet.
When I'm feeling down and out, and I got nothing to do, I take my little grater out, and a half a cabbage too. Then I scrape the cabbage out, and I put it in a bowl. Then I take some mayonnaise. Hellman's is the best. Don't tell me that Duke's is any good.
Dukes.
Miss me with that. Then I take a squeeze of lemon juice and I put some carrots in. I put a little sugar in it because you know that I like the sweetness of coleslaw. I mix it all up in a big old bowl and then I put it in the fridge because you know that it sucks up all the juices and coleslaw essence and then it's delicious. And I'll bring and I'll see all of my friends. And we'll laugh and eat coleslaw together. And everything's good in the world. And Jesus will come back soon and that's okay. But until then, I'm gonna eat coleslaw. It's a gift from God and everybody loves it. Thank you, God, for coleslaw.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I feel like I'm going to digest this way better for having had some sweet serenading.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. Sarah, I was thinking about your coleslaw and your vinegar substitute. Are you using the dried cranberries as your vinegar? What if you use a little bit of your cranberry juice?
Right.
You said it's really sour. What if you use a little bit of that to sort of help wilt the cabbage and such? Have you ever thought about it?
I did when I was making this.
Yeah?
I just didn't do it. And I was literally Googling cranberry. Can you use cranberry juice as a substitute for vinegar? Google didn't really give me a good answer. However, I'm going to try it because it's really, really, really strongly flavored. So if you don't, I'd probably sweeten it anyway because I like my coleslaw sweeter. But I'm curious if what that would do. Actually,
if you're using a green cabbage, it might look a little funny. But if you use a red cabbage, it's not going to look funny at all.
It's true.
And speaking of red cabbage and coleslaw, let me just say that if you want to see something that is the brightest color you've ever seen in nature, make a red coleslaw, like a red cabbage coleslaw, and then add some mayo to that. That brings out a fuchsia that I've never seen elsewhere in my life. It is very bold. Very bold.
Cabbage, I mean, obviously the quintessential coleslaw is cabbage. Like, what about the other slaws though? Like broccoli
Broccoli
slaw,
slaw.
Oh,
celery slaw. Like,
Uh-huh.
I've never heard.
what say you on that?
I mean, I'm for all of that. Broccoli slaw, I think that was really just invented by the food industry as a way to use up the broccoli stumps that nobody
You are
wanted.
not wrong. Uh-huh.
They all want the flowerets, the heads, and so then they were left with these stumps, and somebody came up with a way to make some money off of it. But it's good. I mean, I've enjoyed a broccoli slaw in my day. I'm not opposed to it at all. I find it good.
I got no trouble with alternate slaws, but I'm with Erin. I have a deep love for cabbage. Earlier today, we were talking about going to the store to get cabbage, and I said, well, I still have a head and a half in the fridge, but I'm going to buy more because that's sort of like getting low for me. It's such a wonderful food that fills up your belly and makes you feel healthy and good at the same time.
And it's really inexpensive too.
Right.
Cabbage is
Yeah.
super cheap.
Now,
Yeah.
Rachel, now that you've had a chance to actually eat this coleslaw, tell us
Mhm.
your thoughts. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah,
Let's hear
there
it.
is. Okay, so I actually had a similar reaction. I had my oldest daughter, she wanted to try this, and so she had a spoonful before we started recording, and I asked her what she thought, and she goes, I really don't know. It was weird. I said, well, don't know. So would you willingly take another bite? And she said, yeah, I think. And that's sort of like
Rave review.
what I was doing as I was eating this. There was a lot to appreciate, but I really couldn't decide whether it all completely worked, gelled. And maybe if I had refrigerated the salad rather than made it 10 minutes before we came up here, I would have felt differently. Here's what I loved. I loved the mustard in the slaw dressing. I'm going to be doing that a whole lot more. You take a regular old mayonnaise, vinegar, salt, pepper dressing and add some of that wonderful tart stone ground mustard. That was amazing. I think if I were doing this salad in the future, I would either do grapes and apples or pickles and onions. I probably would not do both because something about that sweet savory. Although maybe if I tried it with sweet pickles instead of dill pickles, I would have found that more, just working together rather than sort of competing with each other for the flavor palette.
Yeah.
However, that said, even though my tongue is still deciding whether it likes this particular blend of flavors or not, I will probably eat the whole bowl. It is really it is inconclusive, but in general, it's a pleasant experience eating the salad. Which is not necessarily what I was expecting. There's a photo of me, my salad before I put the dressing on when it just had all the dry ingredients layered. And I was going to text it to you and say, Erin, are you sure? Before I put this dressing on and I'm committed to this, are you 100% sure? But it's good. It's good. Very different.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I am someone, as I think we've all established by now, that I enjoy unusual combinations. So for me, I'm like, oh, that is interesting. I never thought of trying to put a dill pickle with a grape, but
Here we are.
Yeah. And I also really do like all the different textures that are going on in this particular slaw, because it's got the crunchy cabbage, there's the juicy grapes, the pickles have a little bit of crunch to them, there's the tartness of the apple. Anyway, so there's a lot of different textures happening with it as well.
And I was very you have kind of made a believer out of me. When I saw fruit and coleslaw, I just about I don't know, lost my marbles. But it is not nearly as strange as I thought it would be. I went into this thinking, oh well, we put apples in red cabbage, and that is delicious. So maybe apples in coleslaw will work, and I think it does. It really actually does. They work.
Yeah.
are there any like variations, or I mean, this is already a variation. Uh, anything that you would change, or I don't know, any other experimenting you would do with this one? Because I am also a big fan of experimenting with food. When I was growing up, I was the experimental one in the kitchen. I would pull stuff out of the cupboards and throw it
Yeah.
together and see what happened because it's fun.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, if anything, I don't know, like maybe later in the summer, I might consider trying to substitute peaches for the grapes.
Oh.
Then it would still be sort of the
They're
sweet,
good right now.
juicy, the sweet, juicy fruit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might or might not. It might be too much of its own taste. Like, grapes are fairly neutral in their flavor in my mind. But that might be one variant that I would try with it. Rachel's
sounds
idea
amazing.
of trying switching up the pickles, that's not a bad idea. I think if I did that, I would definitely want to use like the tartest apples that I could find, because I do like the tartness. But if you're able to get some good tart Granny Smith, I don't know, is Granny Smith the most tart of all the apples, or
That's
is there
usually,
another
yeah.
one?
I think so.
That are commonly available at the store. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I would definitely want to stick with a Granny Smith if I were gonna switch to like a bread and butter sort of pickle or something like that. That would be worth trying as well.
As far as tweaks to the recipe, I actually kind of went your mom's direction. Just because the recipe called for 4 cups of cabbage, and I may have gotten carried away because, as mentioned before, I like cabbage. And so by the time I got my giant bowl full of cabbage, I ended up then adding a little bit more mayo to my dressing. So I ended up with probably 2/3, 3/4 of a cup of mayo.
Yeah.
And I think the consistency is just great. I also like a creamy slaw. I also want to share a little kitchen hack for making your coleslaw dressing.
Please.
That I'm sure there are lots of people who do this, but in case you don't, it is a game changer, or was for me. Rather than mixing up my dressing in a small bowl, I will take a jelly jar with one of those plastic mason lids, and I will mix it in there, put the lid on, and shake, 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 and I get a much smoother consistency than when I'm stirring it with a spoon. And my jelly jar has measurements right on the side, so I don't have to use a separate measuring cup.
Right.
So,
Right.
there you go.
That's a nice little trick. I will also comment that one of the nice things about slaw that I find is that it keeps well for several days. So you can eat, you make it on one day, you can eat on this for several days. So it makes a lot, but if you take it to a picnic, it's probably going to get eaten all up there. But if you just make it for yourself at home, still, it'll be fine sitting in the fridge.
And this dish
wouldn't eat slaw for 5 days straight, because I know I would.
I would too. Yeah. I will tell you, if you take this dish to a potluck, it will be a conversation starter. But that's not a bad thing, because as we have discussed, sitting around and talking at a church picnic is prime entertainment, and you just need a subject. And a coleslaw recipe can be all you need to keep going for a long time.
Exactly. Sarah, I don't think I heard how your slaw was. What's your verdict on yours?
I think it's pretty good. I haven't eaten coleslaw in like years because I haven't been able to eat vinegar for a long time, so I just haven't tried. I like it. It's good. And I love cranberries in pretty much anything, so that's helpful. And I do like cabbage, and I like olive oil and salt also on like anything. So there's that. I do want to try it again, mixing olive oil and cranberry juice with a little bit of honey and some spices. And I need to research if I can eat mustard seed. I know I can't eat actual mustard because it's got other stuff in it, but I'm curious now if I can actually eat mustard seed. I got to research that and see. But if that's the case, that could be super fun.
It really could.
So I have some homework to do now to see what kinds of flavors I can add to my food.
Awesome.
And I went the single serving way. I literally just got out a soup bowl and like chopped up a little bit of cabbage and threw it in there and drizzled it with olive oil and dumped some stuff in and mixed it up. So that was,
Super simple.
I didn't measure a thing.
Yeah, that is often how I make myself a quick coleslaw in the evening if I'm going to just have it with a brat in front of my TV.
Yep.
So, single serving.
I will be eating off this coleslaw for several days, but as Bri said, it keeps well, and if the flavor starts to go, I just add another teaspoonful of mayonnaise and put on some fresh pepper, and that really perks it right back up.
Hashtag life goals. Hashtag meal plan. Hashtag coleslaw diet.
Yes. So I want to hear what your favorite coleslaw recipes are, ladies. Please share them if you've got an unusual variation or you just have the ultimate classic coleslaw recipe. Either way, I'm curious about what kind of coleslaw you are making. Let us share the inspiration so that we can enjoy some good, healthy cabbage all summer long and not get bored.
No one wants to be bored with their cabbage.
What's wrong with you if you get bored with your cabbage?
Wow. Erin, I believe Rachel's asking for your credentials. Cabbage fan club president.
No, I'm fully supportive. I want to see those recipes too, because now that I've tried something a little different, I could be convinced to try more things that are a little different because my cabbage is worth it.
Yes.
It's a gateway drug. Cowboy Coleslaw. Who knows where she'll go from here?
Share your stories. I guess they're stories about your cabbage recipes, your favorite cabbage recipes, coleslaw recipes in our Facebook group. Find us in Lutheran Ladies Lounge on Facebook. We'd love to hear them. Show us your pictures too if they're super colorful, because if you start throwing all kinds of stuff in, they're going to get colorful really fast. You can find all of our podcast episodes at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge or on your favorite podcasting app. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm in love with coleslaw.
And I'm still Rachel.
Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Join our community on Facebook in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.
Are we ready?
Oh,
Let's
nope,
do it.
just a minute. I got him.
Okay.
What's up, Chris?
Is this Danish wine?
Did you eat one already?
No.
Then it's yours.
Thank you.
You have a British accent.
I think that was his Mr. Bean voice.
Can I please make him an outtake?
Sure.